Welcome back to the channel. In the last video you guys saw with Mr. Ben Biley here,
how's it going?
We did a fuel filter change on the trucks, and he got me thinking about doing some upgrades to the engine. So let's kind of jump into the video. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe, and let's talk about what we're going to be doing to our trucks really soon. All right, so Ben, what are we thinking about doing and why?
Okay, so we're looking at changing out hot side, cold side pipes with the inlet into the turbo.
Okay.
And here's why, right? When I first got my truck, everybody's like, you got to go get a new intake. You got to go do this. You got to go do that. You got to tune it, right?
Right.
And I'm like, everybody I've ever known that's done all this stuff, truck's in the shop 24/7, right? And so I started watching other videos like Dave's Auto started coming up, and I started seeing some of the issues of why he has to tear down engines, rebuild engines, why engines are getting replaced. And one of the big ones was the Cummins, you know, the older up to what, 2022 maybe, even present.
Well, 2007 to present, yeah, basically.
Yeah. So it has a little nut on the intake, right, to heat up the AGR that eventually erodes, falls off, and ends up in cylinder number 6, takes out the whole engine.
Yep.
So I got to thinking, I was like, am I looking at something like this? Right, it's my first diesel, loving it, never had any issues with it, but how do I prevent future issues, right?
Yeah.
So I got to watching it, and he is a fan of Banks Power Sports, and started looking at that, went to their webpage, started looking at something that maybe will help out with the, you know, prolonging engine life, prolonging turbo life, stuff like that. And came across the Inlet, Monster Inlet, which goes into the turbo, which has some pretty big numbers just for that one piece. And then I was sitting there the one night, and you sent me the link for the hot side, cold side pipes, right?
Yep.
So we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And let you get a little bit in there on why you also were thinking about this, want to get into it.
See, normally I don't keep my trucks long enough for it to matter, but you know, when you were talking about it, I was like, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to at least do some testing on it, right? So what Ben was talking about, there is a hot side and a cold side. So if you, it's really tucked in there. It's like right here. For the, this should be the cold side. And I believe that this side is the hot side right here. Now, you see that? I didn't notice it, but ours is actually metal.
Yes, going down, but he said the lower part of it.
It's gonna be rubber. Yeah, I never noticed that top part there. And these trucks, they're both the same, so you're gonna see the exact same setup. They don't change anything in the Duramax on the 2500, 3500s, which is good too. So the goal is obviously to change those pipes, and then the inlet pipe is tucked deep down in there below this intake piping here. It actually runs right through there to the turbocharger. So we're gonna be changing out that plastic housing for the Banks inlet, and you're gonna get more volume of air basically. Right now they don't have a new intercooler. I think they're under development of doing a new one, which is good.
Which is good.
So I like the idea of more air volume because you're going to run cooler temperatures. And that's always good for towing.
For MPG, towing.
Yep.
Basically everyday driving.
Yes.
Right? So if we look at some of the stats that they give us on the Monster, we have 11% lower turbo drive pressure.
Nice.
We have 23% greater gulp capacity, right? Volume, as they say. 17% larger turbo inlet. We have an 18.67 less restrictive versus stock.
Nice.
Outflow is increased by 11.9. And then you go to a cast aluminum, and it retains all of the original OEM shapes, but what it does is it increases size. It matches the OEM connection to the turbo, so you don't get your backflow on your air. And I'm hoping to see some big improvements.
Same. And if for all the guys in the future, if you know you're going to be keeping your truck for a long time, and you know you probably plan on running a bigger turbo or a bigger intercooler when it becomes available, tuning, this stuff is going to really help with that as well. Because I'll be honest, I personally would like to do the intercooler with the pipes at the same time, because I think the biggest benefit is going to be from a bigger core on an intercooler, especially the one that's not plastic as well. So you will get the benefit from these pipes, obviously, because of the larger diameter, which is going to give you more volume, but the biggest impact is obviously getting a bigger intercooler with a bigger core. That way you can cool that air much better.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Oh yeah.
I called Banks and I told him the story that I just shared with you, right? With all the vehicles being in the shop as soon as they start doing the stuff, and he's like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He said, you don't have to worry about that here. We've got a long-standing contract with the government to do all their military Duramax.
Nice.
He said, we are one of the only authorized people that are allowed to go in and make these modifications, and a lot of the modifications that you're seeing have been developed in conjunction with the military to increase performance on the Humvees and the different engines that they use.
Yeah, and Banks does a good job in terms of trying to make these emissions trucks more efficient and better, because just like with the inlet, as you mentioned on the Ram, see, our trucks luckily have glow plugs. So with the Ram Cummins, it has that grid heater to obviously heat the fuel, because obviously diesel, it's not like gasoline, you know this. But yeah, at the same time, you know, they build things that aren't just, you know, performance gains, but they're actually beneficial for long-term usage too. So I'm gonna show you guys a video really quickly of Gil Banks kind of discussing that here.
One thing I was curious about, a lot of guys are making these intake pipes to feed the turbocharger, and I've been in that business all my life. One thing I wanted to talk about is this air inlet. It's quite large here. It gets to be compressor inlet size here, and there's an air gap that allows the compressor recirc anti-surge system to work. If you remove this and just take a piece of 3.5-inch muffler tubing, put a flange on it and stick it on here, you defeat this whole system. The other part of this thing is this feed into this intake has to have the correct pressure in this line. How it goes into the airflow, and even the shape inside here can't be easily duplicated with a piece of constant diameter tin pipe. You got to know what you're doing, or you're going to be pushing oil into the intake on the turbocharger.
So Ben, what's the benefit of people subscribing to the channel and staying connected here?
Well, you got a couple different things. You're going to see the install of it. You're going to get our reviews, pros and cons, right? You're going to see the towing videos.
Yep.
Before and after. You're going to see the 0 to 60.
Yep.
Before and after on our trucks, because it's different on every truck, as we've seen from other videos in the past, right?
Yeah.
And if we can find a dyno, we'll put it on the dyno. We'll see what the numbers are, because Banks talks about horsepower improvement, torque improvement, and it may or may not, depending on the parts that we get, make a deeper diesel engine sound, right? You might be able to hear the turbo spool up. So it may go back to like the days of old when you could hear that diesel coming down the road, right? But we just don't want to have the black smoke, because we got all the, you know, all the other AGR and all that stuff on there. So, but it's going to be fun. And what I'd like to know from the viewers, if you have a diesel and you've tuned it or you've added stuff to it, what have you done? Did it mess up your truck, right? Did you have to go and get it done, redone, and redone, right? Because something just wasn't right.
Yeah.
What problems did you have? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it?
Yeah, that's good. And then lastly, we have some Q&As. Is it still up there for you?
It is still up there.
Oh, perfect. So these are some questions that people asked online to Banks, and Banks responded to them. So what's the first one there?
The first one is, will this jeopardize my warranty, right? So obviously these are both 2024s.
Yeah.
You know, you've got 13,000, I've got 10,000. Is it going to affect the warranty? No, it will not affect the warranty, although some dealers may try to get you to do that. And when I talked to Charles at Banks, He's like, if you have a dealer pushing back, give us a call. We'll put you on the line with our technician. Our technician will tell you word for word what to tell the dealership.
Yep.
And they'll go from there.
What was the other one? The was it the sound?
Sound, you know, is it going to make a bigger sound?
Yes.
It says likely, you know, not a little bit if at all, right?
Yeah, but that's for the
That's
boost
for the
tubes.
pipes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now with the inlet in the boost tubes, it's probably gonna make a lot of sound, like from the turbo, like Ben had mentioned. So yeah.
Yep, some of the videos that I watched when they put on the tubes, the inlet and the air cooler, they said they could hear it spooling up. And, you know, my question is it going to improve the engine brake?
Yeah.
Right? Because we're in that area, right?
Yep.
Turbo has to do with engine brake and
Yep.
all that, right? Will it improve the engine brake? Because I know
That's a
you've talked about it.
Good question. Now you got me really excited because that's gonna be the biggest thing that we test going down. Now that you said that, we're gonna definitely test that for stock truck, and then when we
Yes.
get the upgrades in, we'll have to see that too. No, that's actually really good. There's a bug like on my legs, but yeah, guys, like you heard, we're gonna be doing some towing tests, 0 to 60 runs, stock, and then we're gonna come back and do the exact same test with the same trailer. We'll use my black race trailer because that sucker's a sail, and yeah, it does bog down the trucks when we go up that 6% grade. So yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel, support the content for sure, and yeah, I'm excited. Normally I wouldn't do stuff like this, but Ben got me thinking, and I think it would be kind of cool to start here. I mean, you guys can go online and see the pricing for the parts. I am working on getting a code that you guys can use to get a discount. I just haven't had a chance to get back with Banks to get it all set up. So when we do our next video, I will provide that link for you guys. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure your bell notification on so you don't miss the uploads, so you guys can see how these trucks are going to perform before and after. See you guys soon.
Peace out.